So I was just thinking about this because this guy at my job gave me a new name. And guess what the new name was? PTM. What do PTM stand for? Pregnant, twerking, monster. Put it all together.
Drop that ass up and down to the floor. Shake that shit till you can't no more.
Anywho, before I got carried away, let's just say, for instance, a director sees me and they need to cast a pregnant twerking mother. Monster. Here she go right here.
So you saw this TikTok that started the video. And so what I want to talk about is the software, if you will, kind of the programming. I think as we've seen, feminism, I guess, kind of take hold, I think there are three tenets that I've noticed that have been a kind of a shift in the behavior of young ladies. So I think the first one is pretty clear, right? Just open display of sexuality. Like there's nothing left to be desired, right? It is basically, here's my sexuality on a platter. I'm going to put it on display so that everyone can see it, but only a select few of guys who I choose can touch it, right? Whatever. That's just the way it is. But as I see it, that's one of the tenets of this new software, if you will, is I'm going to be openly sexual. Like I am not going to hide my sexuality at all. I would say a second tenet would be the kind of gesturing in a very aggressive, manly type of manner, right? So I think you're seeing more you're seeing quite a bit of it, right? So if you play the TikTok in the sound, I'll let you hear the sound.
Just in case y'all was thinking of it.
So it's very aggressive.
So I was just thinking
right?
about this because this guy at my job gave me a new name.
Not like,
and guess what the new name was?
I would like to
PTM.
talk to you. Like,
what
none
do
of
PTM
that.
stand
That's
for?
gone, right?
Pregnant, twerking, monster. Put it all together.
So,
Drop that ass up and
okay, so that's the second part of the software or that I would consider. And of course, the last part is just basically kind of an openly opposite rejection of whatever a lady is, do the opposite of that. So talk softly becomes talk loudly. Gesture small and daintily becomes gesture in a big manner. Sip your drink becomes guzzle your drink, right? And so when I talk about the software, one of the things about software is that software is replicable, right? Hardware is static. If I have one computer, I can only take that computer wherever I take it. But that software, it can get installed on any computer. So I'm going to show you two quote unquote computers that the software is going to be installed on. So this is a video from the Shade Room. This is Glorilla and Sukihana. I don't know Sukihana. I certainly know Glorilla. But what I see are two young ladies just having a good time, right? They're two young ladies having a good time, and they're basically exhibiting the quote unquote software that they've grown up with, that they've been impressioned with, right? And so I'll show you the three tenets.
You say you finna help. We got jump. Okay. Let me take one. Don't take one.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay, so the first thing we see right here is we see basically, the gesturing in a manly manner. This is very masculine, right? So to take a shot like that.
Glorilla, you ready? We ready.
Well, I'm not saying that anything's wrong with that. She's certainly free to do that. There's nothing, I don't see any issue with that. But I do see that as a very masculine kind of, especially in public. That's just, it's masculine. I mean, and you'll see more gesturing.
We're ready. Where you at?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, so like that, right? So right there, right? That's kind of like I don't know, I guess that's a fight pose, I suppose. But it's certainly not a pose that my grandmother would have liked to see my anyone that's my age as a young lady standing like that in public. Certainly not. But we're in different times. So, of course, you see the manly gestures. Yeah, so they're talking about how you're gonna stand, right? Yeah, so I guess they're fighting, but they're in a fight, kind of play fight pose. But I would say that's not ladylike. That this is to stand like this in public, and it is, again, to each his own. But when I'm talking about the software, I guess what I'm saying is basically, if you go back 40 or 50 years ago, this is just not what young ladies would be doing in public. So it certainly a 2.0, 3.0 set of software instructions, things that are quote unquote liberating, have been taught to these young ladies. So you get this kind of behavior in public, right? Yeah. So when I see Glorilla, I see it's not like openly sexual, but certainly the clothing is. I mean, I don't. No one is wearing a full shirt, right? And on top of all of it, you're seeing the colored hair, and you're seeing the loud talking, and that's just the new software. So I'm not really sure. I'm not trying to be judgmental. What I'm alluding to is the fact that there's this new accepted standard of behavior, and it is pretty much accepted, right? Okay, so it's pretty much accepted, right? So now that we know that this is kind of an accepted level of behavior, now we have to deal with the idea of, well, if this is the behavior, then what are we going to do in terms of dealing with the software on a personal level? Because one thing that has not been established is, how do you have enduring personal relationships in the age of feminism? That is a question that has not been solved yet. So essentially what we're talking about is, how do you deal with the software, if you will, in interpersonal relationships? So why am I talking about software? Well, so you would think, from the first two videos that I'm only talking about, B-dubs, I guess. But when I'm talking about software, what I'm basically saying is that it can be replicated anywhere. And so all you need is someone that is receptive to the OS. It's a metaphor, but someone that is receptive to the new instructions. And I'll show an example. So this is a Japanese artist. She's not very big from what I understand, but look at the song. The song is called Ketsuru. That means shake your ass. That's literally the name of the song, right? Look at the phone. You see what that phone says? You can see that, right? So cover that phone. I don't think that's by mistake. So I want you to just take a look at it, just to see, it's something that you would see in any normal American video, right? And so clearly it can be replicated in anywhere you go, right? So would you guess, looking at this video, that this is a video specific to a given country? You probably wouldn't, right? And so, I want you guys to look at the comments here, just so you can see it, right? All of these comments are in English, right? So even though this is a cultural thing that's coming from a different place, you still have the encouragement of that replication being done somewhere else. There are a couple of comments earlier in Japanese, but all of these comments are in English, right? And so it doesn't really matter the fact that, you are in a different place where, this is a different cultural norm, because now in a smaller world with the internet, all of the behaviors that we are accustomed to in terms of, hip hop / black / whatever culture, the three things that I mentioned, that could be replicated anywhere in the world, right? And so there's one particular comment. You see these pictures, right? One particular comment that got 548 likes. In the words of Michelle Obama, "Hey, queen girl, you have done it again, constantly raising the bar for all of us and doing it flawlessly. I'd say I'm surprised, but I know who you are. Girl, you make me so proud, and I love you." So when I talk about open display of sexuality, gesture in manly manner, and act opposite of a lady, those are things that can and will be replicated overseas, right? And so when I talked earlier about how we don't have a playbook for how you have lasting, enduring relationships in this era, we don't know how that's going to play out even overseas, because even you see like the issue with Indonesia, and they're trying to implement some things to try and head off the cultural wars, but it's a given that no matter where you go, that a culture is going to follow us. Now, how much it's going to follow us and in what presentation and what form, we're not quite sure. But what Passport Bros really should understand is that you're not going to step into a country and step into the 1950s. You're going to step into the country that is going to be, they're going to have some American ideals and some American mannerisms already there. And the best thing to do is have a playbook for how you're going to deal with it. So don't go overseas thinking that you're going somewhere where you're not going to see any Americanism, because American culture is the world culture. Now we have to learn how to build enduring families and relationships in the middle of it, especially as black men, because no one has given us that playbook. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.